Because tomorrow you're going to get beaten. Beaten real bad, cowboy.
Really?
Yes! And I want to know.
That's
Yes,
news,
I
that's
tell you
news
what,
to me.
Tomorrow you're going to
ready
be in
to have
trouble.
your- I'm
I'm
gonna
going
rip
to
you a
rip
new
you
one.
in the face.
This
There's going to
is
be a
not- I don't-
crop son I'm going to take
I
away.
play for keeps.
I'm
I
going
play
to
for
figure
keeps.
us.
Call of Duty Vanguard has officially been revealed, and we got our first look at the game's campaign. On top of that, we also got confirmation of multiplayer and zombies, which is being developed by Treyarch once again. In case you guys didn't know, this is the first time Treyarch has ever made zombies in back-to-back years, let alone the first time a second studio has worked on a Call of Duty title. Like, yes, we've had Sledgehammer assist on 2 games such as Modern Warfare 3 and Cold War in the past, but this is the first time we've had 2 studios have lead roles in a single Call of Duty title. And yes, I do have concerns with Treyarch taking over zombies for a second year in a row without a single break, but you guys know as well as I do that is not the topic of this video for today. In this video, we're gonna be discussing what Vanguard Zombies needs to do in order to succeed, as well as a couple other things I'd like to see inside of the game itself. Considering DLC 4 for Cold War will be releasing, I would imagine, at the very beginning of Season 6, which by the way is October 7th, we'll be getting loads of zombies content in just around a month or so, like around a month and a half. So if you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet, I know it's a very YouTuber thing to say or to ask for you guys, but if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do it right now. We got a lot of content coming up after this little dry spell of nothing. Obviously I'll be doing stuff, that's what a YouTuber does, but the zombie stuff, that's really gonna get underway around October or late September. But as I just mentioned, we'll be talking about what Vanguard Zombies needs to do in order for it to be a successful mode, and I can only imagine that it'll play very similar to how Cold War does, as it's not only being developed by Treyarch once again, but it's also coming out less than a month after Season 6 begins. And look, it's possible that they change the mechanics of the mode completely from what we've seen in Cold War so far, but I'm really hoping most of the mechanics stay the same from game to game. I'll be covering most topics in this video, from Easter eggs to general features of the game itself, but you know, with all that introduction stuff out of the way, I have to do this introduction thing. It's again a YouTuber thing. That's a topic here. Let's just hop into the video and let's get started. So the first thing I want to discuss are Easter egg quests. So as you guys have seen with Cold War, it's completely changed how the community has solved and went through Easter eggs time and time again. Before D Machina, every Easter egg, not just from Treyarch, but every map in Call of Duty Zombies, had complicated and challenging steps which put a player's skills to the test, whether it was a physical challenge like a lockdown or a very challenging boss fight, or a mental challenge like Simon Says on Moon, for instance. And yes, Cold War does still have some of those steps here and there, but for the majority of every Easter egg in Cold War so far, they've really lowered the difficulty down from like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 down to like a 2 or a 3. And before Cold War came out, Easter eggs actually felt like Easter eggs. They felt like Easter eggs in the sense that they were hard to find and solve, but also fairly difficult to complete. But now with Cold War, they made it so it's both very easy to solve and especially easy to complete. It felt closer to something that you would find in a Destiny 1 or Destiny 2 raid. If you guys aren't aware of what Destiny raids are, they're 6-player missions in both Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, as I just said, where you have to complete specific objectives such as lockdowns, parkour obstacles, and a few boss fights sprinkled in here and there, culminating with one final large-scale boss fight. Incorporating aspects of these raids into what Cold War has right now, and eventually transferring it into Vanguard, as well as making the Easter eggs a little more difficult on top of those things, I believe this could strike the perfect balance from what we've had in the past before Cold War, what we currently have now, and innovations that the mode is hoping to make in the future for Vanguard. And just a small little thing I want to add real quick, Treyarch, please add difficulties back from Black Ops 4 Zombies. So you guys remember those difficulties we had, such as normal, hardcore, and realistic? Out of everything that came back from Black Ops 4 into Cold War, I was honestly really shocked that they didn't bring the difficulties back whatsoever. So Treyarch, if you hear my prayer, if you hear my plead, please add in the difficulties once again. But in a perfect world, if Treyarch were to do what I was, suggesting with the idea of a Destiny raid sort of quest, I think we could have perfect Easter egg quests that take skill to complete just to begin with and make them feel more rewarding to complete by putting additional difficulties, which are already introduced in Black Ops 4 Zombies. The second big topic I want to discuss next is Outbreak. So you all know as well as I do that Outbreak is all but guaranteed. It's pretty much 110% guaranteed to be in Vanguard this year. Treyarch has pretty much pushed players to play that mode ever since it was introduced back in February 6 months ago. And ever since it was released, we've only seen one round-based map. No, this has been a tradition for years now. Ever since 2008, we've had round-based maps, at least 3 to 4, typically 4, every single year in DLC. But no, ever since February of this year, which was 6 months ago, 6.5 months ago, give or take, we've only had one round-based map, and that's Tone, and everything else has been Outbreak related, minus that. And I'm sure you've all seen the Twitter civil wars about Outbreak and how people feel about it. And for me personally, just my own personal opinion on the mode, it's fine, but, you know, it could definitely get way too slow and repetitive by like round 3 or 4, give or take. And for the next couple minutes, I just want to give some suggestions that could really help elevate Outbreak for Vanguard and hopefully beyond, not just Vanguard, but future Call of Duty Zombies titles, if the mode does continue past this point, obviously, because there's no guarantees anymore of free DLC. And honestly, this mode just has a ridiculous amount of potential, and I still think, you know, even now, even though the mode just started less than a year ago, Treyarch has found, they really found something truly special with the mode. That's all I can really say about just to introduce it. But here's just a few little small tips I could give. First of all, increase the zombie spawns like crazy. I mean, like not like twice as many, like at least 10 times as many zombie spawns that we have right now. Ever since I started playing zombies back in 2008 with Tone, yeah, I was 6 at the time, don't question it, okay? But one thing I've known is that the zombies had to come to me. Like, it literally did not matter where I was on the map, they were always after me, full force, full hordes. They did not hold back whatsoever. But on Outbreak, whether it's round 1 or round 10, I'm always running around trying to find just a few zombies on the entire map, which leads me into another issue I have, which is having maps like Duga and Alpine. They should not exist on Outbreak whatsoever. 1, they're too massive, and 2, vehicles just in general in the entirety of Outbreak are way too spread out. And yes, I understand for story purposes at the time they had to be there. Maps like Duga and Alpine, they almost needed to be there for storyline purposes. But now that we're getting maps like Collateral, which is located in an entire continent from the Ural Mountains. If you guys don't know where Collateral is, it's literally in North Africa. The Ural Mountains is in Russia, so you're pretty much a couple thousand miles away, give or take. So now that they have, you know, maps expanding past just the Ural Mountains, there's literally no reason to go back on maps that are in Fireteam, maps that are multiplayer, etc, etc. The limit is literally through the roof with Outbreak maps, both with Cold War, which I don't think they're gonna continue with anymore, unfortunately, and particularly Vanguard, which is gonna have a full 6-7 seasons of content ahead of itself. Also, please make it so we can vote what map we can play on next, so we don't have to constantly go through a cycle of locations. I mean, I want to play maps that I enjoy most, you know, like Zoo, and I typically want to avoid maps that I do not enjoy as much, you know, like Duga and Alpine, for instance. On top of that, there needs to be more vehicles scattered around each map and more fast travel systems. So you guys know those purple portals that are located on each map? There's 4 total portals in each map. If you don't know what they are, here's some gameplay of it right now. So friends, you just hop into it and it teleports you to a random location in the sky, and you can just grapple down, you can just parachute down. It's very convenient for just getting somewhere a little faster if there's no vehicles close to you. Like, they're a fantastic idea, but the problem is there's only 4 of them on the map, and they're only located on the perimeter of each map as well. That's a big issue in my opinion. And they're like each corner, so you have to go like one corner, like top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. You get what I'm going with here. So my suggestion is, you guys probably know where I'm going here, is to add more of those portals, not just on the perimeter of the map where you normally find them, everything in Outbreak, but add them to like the middle of the map, maybe like some other areas of the map that you wouldn't expect. It would honestly just really fix the progression of the maps a lot more. It could really speed things up, and there'd be less footwork, I would say, just going from point A to point B every single time you finish an objective. And also, on the topic of objectives, there should be a lot more side objectives you can do. There should not be 2 or 3 of the same objectives that cycle through every single round, which, by the way, the rounds take about 10 minutes. I'll get into that pretty quick. But there should definitely be a lot more side quests that you can do, not just the main objective that you get for each round, which is actually what I'm gonna be transitioning into right now. So you guys probably know as well as I do, or at least not all rounds, some rounds on Outbreak take way too long depending on what combination of what map you have and what objective you have on said map. So in my opinion, we need more objectives like HVT, Retrieve, and Secure, and less objectives like Hold Out and Escort. The best objectives you might notice are fast-paced, fun, and keep the progression of the mode going quick. Escort, on the other hand, absolutely ruins the progression of the game entirely. You have no way to speed up the progression of the escort step whatsoever. And also, 2 objectives that I want to quickly discuss here are Holdout and Defense. These 2 objectives hold out on the fence, like I just said, are fantastic ideas. They are great ideas. They could be very good, but they need to be adjusted slightly for me to put them on the same level as something like HVT or Retrieve. Holdout, in my eyes, should be way more challenging than what it is right now. What I believe Treyarch should do if they want to bring Holdout back in Vanguard is spice it up a little bit by, instead of having only one location you stay in for 3.5 minutes with 3 phases of spawn, what I think they should do is for each phase, like every minute and a half, they teleport you to a new location on the same map and keep the spawns the same as they typically would on the 3rd phase of the current holdout that we have right now in Cold War. Doing this would, in my eyes, add a lot more personality to the holdout objective since it's very stacked, has barely anything going on in it. Like, get holdout on round 1, you're gonna be sitting there for at least 2 minutes out of the 3.5 minutes that you're in there for. And defense, in my eyes, just needs way more spawns going after the objective that you're trying to defend. Like, typically, same with holdout, I just find myself sitting down way too long waiting for a single dog spawn or a single zombie to spawn in. So making defense a lot more exhilarating with more spawns, not just speeding up how the zombies run, that'll make it way more challenging and way more exciting as well in my eyes. As a whole, the best way I describe Outbreak in the current state it's in now is fantastic concepts, like very, very strong concepts, but very mediocre and honestly, in some ways, kind of bad executions. And one final thing on Treyarch, please Treyarch, for the love of us all, speed up the rounds in Outbreak and lower the health scale between rounds. Zombies should not be at max health when I have just earned a location for the very first time on round 6 or 7. Now, I'm not saying the health should scale the same compared to round-based maps, but the scale should definitely be decreased by at least 100% or, twice as much as it is right now. At this point now, I've really gotten, the big aspects of Cold War Zombies since, again, I'm assuming that the mechanics are going to be just about the same, if not the same, with Vanguard compared to Cold War, considering it's going to be less than a 1-month gap between DLC 4's map in Cold War and the release of Vanguard, which I'm assuming is going to have at least 1 to maybe 2 maps, best case scenario, but for now, we're going to do a bit of a speed run of things I'd like to see in Vanguard Zombies and what I believe would make the best game way more successful as a whole. So without further ado, let us begin. Keep the perks in Vanguard the same as they are in Cold War, but continue to add on more perks and innovate on what's already there with Cold War. Give us a playable crew with personalities. This one's probably not happening, but a man can dream, okay? One can dream. Please do not introduce another mysterious character whose first name starts with the letter R, so the community doesn't go, "Guys, it's Richthofen, it has to be him, I swear, it must be!" Add a few more fun side quests to each round-based map to make them have a little more personality and give the player more to do when they start a map up. Make some wonder weapons deal infinite damage since that's been missing from Cold War. I don't think this will happen, but again, a man can dream. If field upgrades are in the game, don't make 1 or 2 way better than the others. I'm looking at you, Ring of Fire and Aether Shroud, but we're not going to talk about that. Small survival maps on already established round-based maps. Please, I beg, this has to be in the game to keep the zombies community somewhat alive. It's not crazy content like a round-based map or like an Outbreak Easter egg, but it's at least something and it will keep us alive and it'll honestly influence a lot of challenge with every map. And that's honestly just about everything that I have about what I believe Vanguard should have in the game itself in order for it to reach its fullest potential and succeed in the eyes of the community. If you guys have your own suggestions, put them down in the comments. If you disagreed with anything I said, put them down in the comments too. I'd love to hear what you guys think, whether you've agreed with me or not. Either way, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Now that I have my new setup all set up, which might add is fantastic, I do want to start doing some more videos on the channel in the future, not just like, this type of commentary video, but just general stuff. But if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. I'd love to do some stuff. With all that in mind though, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next stream or video. Whatever I decide to do next, we'll see. Okay, see you guys later. Bye.